Right. There were some questions about connectionism. So one question was about why there are no propositional attitudes if connectionism is right. And the answer is quite simple. A propositional attitude is a stance towards the meaning of a sentence. That is, you have the sentence, I got my glasses in my hand. That sentence has meaning, and it has the same meaning als ik heb mijn bril in mijn hand, in Dutch. So you can express the meaning of a sentence in different sentences, of course, in different languages. And you can have an attitude towards that, a stance towards. You can believe that I have my glasses in my hand, or you can think that, or you can know that. So those are all different stances, different attitudes towards the same proposition. Now, in a classical idea of what propositional attitudes are, is that they are discrete entities, they are separate things. So, like these chairs in a lecture room are separate entities. If I get rid of one, it doesn't change the chair next to it. So they are distinct entities, they are separate things. I can add a chair here on stage, and nothing happens to the chairs where students normally sit on, or the chairs that are actually on the stage. And I can get rid of those chairs, and also nothing happens to the other chairs. So those are discrete entities, just like propositional attitudes. Propositional attitudes basically are representations in our brains. And if propositional attitudes are real and are discrete entities, then they have to have different locations in our brain, different parts of our hard drive, you could say. You could compare it to that. So they have different locations. Each propositional attitude has takes up a different part of the hard drive. And then if you learn if you acquire a new belief, a new propositional attitude, then you store this on a different part in your brain. And then you can also delete it, you can forget it, you can unlearn it. But that only can be the case if beliefs are indeed stored at different locations in the brain. And if connectionism is right, that's just not true. Different representations are stored at the same location in the brain, in the neural network, because the different units and the different weights are used to store more than one belief. So that means that if propositional attitudes are discrete entities and connectionism is right, then propositional attitudes cannot exist, because the representations in our brains are not discrete entities. So that's one point, one question with respect to connectionism. Another one was, what does the loop do? And does the loop make the system tolerant to damage, and is it the loop that provides the network with the ability to sustain a lot of damage before absolutely breaking down? And the answer is, the last question is no. It's not the loop that does that. So you have this idea of snapshot reasoning. You present the system with a picture, and then it has to provide you with the right output. Now, if you do it like that, you have a system, you have only a feed-forward network, then it could take a lot of time before it presents you with the proper output. And what you want, of course, is that if it's about recognizing a face, you want the system to do this in real time. If you walk down the Heuvelstraat here in Tilburg, then you don't want to say, well, oh, that was that and that person when he's already 10 minutes gone. So you want to recognize someone immediately. So if connectionism is to be a model of the mind, a model of the brain, then it should work in real time and it should not use snapshot reasoning where you can take your time. And if you have this loop built in, so if you have input coming into the system, then it takes some time to be recycled basically. What you do is you add short-term memory, and the time it takes to process this information, which can be really quick, provides the system basically what it just saw. So if the system blinks, then it still gets input because it has a short-term memory. And then it also can respond to changes in the environment. That is, changes that if I do this, then of course the input in your system, on your retina of your eye, that of course changes a little bit. But you also have this loop, and you can compare that and you see that it's slightly different but still the same face. So you can do that. So this loop basically provides short-term memory and makes also sure that the system can function in real time. So that makes it biologically more realistic. The other point is, does the loop provide the system with a high damage tolerance? No, that's just what parallel processing does. If you have your retina, so light falls on your retina, you look at something, I look at this empty lecture room, the light falls on the chairs and the tables, and the light falls then, it is reflected, and it falls on my retina. Then all these neurons, all these light-sensitive neurons, these cones and these rods in my eyes are stimulated. And if one gets damaged, that really doesn't matter, because the information is processed simultaneously, parallel to the back of my brain. And in the brain part you get a lot more information about how that works. So what you see then is that even if you have damage to some of your neurons in your retina, the information still gets processed. So it has a high damage tolerance. And also related to that, if there's nothing wrong with your retina, but if there's something wrong with the pixels, so if you look at this movie, you have pixels, and if one pixel is missing, then clearly you don't get information from that, but your brain will still fill it in. You're not wondering who I am, what you're seeing. If you look at this and suddenly a pixel of your computer screen breaks down and you get an incomplete input, right? So you get pattern completion, all because of simple parallel processing of the information. Has nothing to do with the loop. The loop is a good addition, but not for, doesn't matter whether there is a loop in the system or not, whether it's damage tolerant or capable of pattern completion. Okay, I hope this helps a little bit.